I sold my car to be able to sort of afford things and invest into starting the business. But I look back and think, well, what a great decision.
Your strategy has been in property quite unconventional.
Tony slapped me, he said, what are you doing?
So what you're doing, which is really clever, is you're charging the investor before you've even got the deal. How much on average are you talking to find somebody a deal? The pie is big enough for everybody. So Callum, thanks for coming to my house and congratulations on what you've done. Your strategy has been in property quite unconventional because you've not just bought a house, rented it out. You've been controlling properties, packaging and selling properties. Why don't you just talk to me about what made you get into property and how you got started?
So originally, sort of 6 months prior to meeting yourself, I actually did do the conventional thing. I bought a property through saving up a deposit, bought with a friend of mine, rundown property. That was sort of the avenue, that was my interest, and it just spiked it. So from then on, I sort of looked into yourself, looked into training and discovered rent to rents. So that was sort of eye-opening, packaging deals, how simple that is, quick cash flow, which funds sort of the rent to rent side of it.
Yeah. So the house that you bought then, that was, how long ago was that?
A year ago, just over a year ago.
Was that your first property investment?
Yeah.
So how much you pay for it?
$360.
And how much you renting it for?
We're not, we still live, so I lived there in that property, so we did it up through that. So it was our first home, first time buyers. 2 of us did it, added some value to it, we're still living in it. Should be selling it sort of next year.
Cool.
But very conventional.
And it's very slow, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But people don't realise this. If you want to buy a house and rent it out or buy a house and do it up or whatever, it takes 6 months just to buy it.
Yeah.
It's super slow. So it's all good having slow pound, but you do need, in my opinion, if you want to make money in property, I think you need fast pound. Property's a business, so you want to be making quick cash and then building the slow stuff alongside that.
Yeah,
so what did you think when you first heard about rent to rent, when you heard about deal packaging? What were your kind of thoughts?
Yeah, skeptical, I've never heard of it, just like anybody. I think you should be, tread with a bit of caution around it. So got myself clued up on all of it and just went in, just got involved.
Yeah.
Weighed up the risk. It's not that risky, is it? So just went for the first one. I think when you get the keys for the unit, you've just committed to paying the rent for something. Is it actually going to work? And we listed the property straight away in the condition it was in. So the agreement we had, we were going to add a lot of value to it through our time. And it was just getting bookings in the condition it was, and we couldn't believe it. And so we were bumping up the nightly rate, just thinking we're losing all the good dates here.
Yeah.
But it was just, overwhelming just how easy it worked.
And where was this property? In Bristol?
Yeah, central Bristol.
And how much rent did you agree to pay to the landlord?
$1,300 a month.
And what is it?
So it's a 2-bed masonette.
What did the landlord say to you when you said to him, I want to rent it, I want to pay $1,300, but I'm not going to be living there, I'm going to be putting clients in it on short stay lets? Like, was the landlord skeptical? Was he unsure, or was he happy as long as he got his rent?
No, so this was really, really easy. So we went through all the no's, estate agents, going to all the viewings, and it wasn't working. Literally walked in and she was already listing it on Airbnb, but it was too much hassle for her to manage it. So she just wanted a tenant in for a longer period of time. And so when we proposed what she was already doing, she was like, I'll crack on as long as I get my rent every month.
Right.
And stuff like that. And then we just sort of went, well, we're going to add value to it because obviously we wanted to increase the nightly rate and stuff like that. And she was, that's amazing. So it was like the easiest negotiation we've ever had to do.
Well, how does she feel though now? Because how much profit are you making on that property?
About 1,500.
So how does she feel? I mean, she might not care, but knowing that you're making $1,000 to £1,500 a month profit on her property, is she not resentful about that?
No, just I guess the situation she's in is paying for that. She's already got the asset. God knows what the mortgage is on it, probably very minimal if there is one. Any problems, because it's an older flat, problems do happen and we just take care of it all. So we sort of catch up every now and again and she's over the moon.
What would you have done if after a couple of months your bookings weren't really coming in the way you thought, you weren't making any profit? Are you tied into a long-term contract?
No, not at all. But this is when I was on about the risk side of it. We weighed up all the risks, like worst case scenario, what's going to happen. But yeah, we structured it all. There's break clauses in there and protects her side of it as well. So we knew what the worst case, if it wasn't going to book up, what we'd have to pay to activate the break clause and go from there. But I mean, there was other avenues. You could just get a normal tenant back in, which would pay the rent if we couldn't get out, depending on what the contract was. So it just wasn't that risky at all, really.
What about another thing that people might be worried about is that they take on a rent to rent and it's loads of hassle and loads of work. I know you've got a very demanding full-time job, which you're still working in aviation?
Yeah, aviation insurance, in comparison to other people, is quite easy from my perspective, family side of things as well. So I only do sort of 40 hours a week. It's flexible working, work from home. So I can sort of finish a job and then straight on to property side of it. There's no commuting, there's no sort of, it's not a traditional 9 to 5. So
yeah,
that side of it, I'm able to.
But you've got like, I mean, where was your latest rent to rent? Was that also in Bristol?
Bristol, yeah.
And what's the story with that one? Is that same kind of?
No, so that one was through an agent. We actually, this conversation was happening before the original one back in February. It was back and forth. I viewed it, I think it was on Boxing Day. So it took forever to actually get the keys. And they sort of dropped his first name in one of the emails. And so I just looked at the building. I knew someone because it was an old traditional building in Clifton, 4 stories. I thought, well, I'll look it up. It was originally an auction. So I just stalked the hell out of this landlord, found him. He had 3 registered companies on Companies House, sent a letter to each one to his accountant. Literally a week later, he phoned me up and he was like, thank God you reached out to me directly. And so we just created our own contract. He paid the estate agents the fee still. And yeah, we've just built a really good relationship.
That's a great thing as well. Sometimes when the agents have been really difficult, if you cut the agent out, but then once you've cut the agent out, go back to them, give them their fee, don't tell them what you're going to do, show them what you just did. And then they go, oh, well, I've got a few more people like that. And then suddenly you've kind of got a relationship as well.
Well, that's exactly, they've got a hefty Costa voucher and they were laughing.
Yeah.
So, and now we're in good communication with them and I've got a really good relationship with the landlords.
With that property, is that making good profit?
Yeah, again, sort of just under 1,500, but we've just locked in a 5-month booking on that one. So I sort of want to experiment from getting away from the 2-3 nighters to month bookings, which I've got a guy in for a month at the moment. And then bang, we had a request come in for 5 months.
5 months?
Yeah.
Who is this person? Are they a relocator? Or?
Yeah, so we were targeting relocators. We've got a couple in from the Philippines at the moment, and there's a small family coming over from Thailand which are looking to relocate to Bristol.
And you've also actively been packaging and selling deals.
Yeah.
What kind of deals have you been selling?
Rent to rents.
But then recently you had a bit of a change of plan with that when
Yeah.
Tony told you, stop it.
Tony slapped me, yeah, he said, what are you doing? So I still do both sides of it. But at the time I had 2 renovations going on. I couldn't physically take on any more unless I was paying someone to do it. So it was a good idea of just cash flow.
So how many deals have you sold in the last few months?
I've sold 4 deals over sort of staggered months, and changed it all sort of recently that we just take on bespoke clients. So we take on 2 people a month now.
Yeah.
And we want money up front because it's been such a time wasting exercise before where I found the deal and the deal's fallen through because they're unsure about it. And I've literally gone to them, well, I've got a couple of roads away, I'm making this money, and they still aren't confident, so it's just time wasting. So I take money up front, 12 weeks, and we work with them. So we didn't just give them the deal, we helped them get up and running because they wanted to run it and manage it themselves.
Yeah.
And so you always get teething issues, so just WhatsApp me whenever.
I think bespoke is such a good idea because, as you said, with properties, if you've negotiated a good deal, as soon as your offer's accepted, whether it be on a rent to rent, a HMO, whatever it is, they want to get it wrapped up quickly. And then if you're dealing with investors that are sort of, oh, I'll think about it, give me a couple of weeks, give me a couple of days, it's like, well, you kind of need to act quickly. So what you're doing, which is really clever, is you're charging the investor before you've even got the deal. But you're telling them that up front. You're saying, look, give me X amount of money. I'll then go and find you the deal, and then you can pay the difference, which is bespoke deal sourcing. How much on average are you talking to find somebody a deal?
Just 2,500 to 3,000.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
The other side of it for me is the time-wise. So I've got time to do and grow my rent to SA side of it, which I was saying to Tony, because he said don't sacrifice your time on becoming a sourcer if your goal is to grow your service accommodation business. So now I can do both, and I know I've got a bit of time to play with, but I'm also going to find the right deal for them. So it's...
Question, how, I know you've made the money back now, just from deal sourcing, you've made your money from the academy back.
Yeah.
But how did you justify, especially when you were a little bit unsure about rent to rent, a little bit skeptical, hadn't done any creative deals like that before, how did you justify investing so much money into your personal education and mentorship? How did you justify that? I
don't know, it was a tough one. So it was sort of a staggered approach. Sort of did a course of yourself, like sort of tested the water, and then went in the deep end. For me, I sold my car to be able to sort of afford things like that and invest into starting the business. But yeah, I look back, I don't know, I can't remember the conversation I had with myself, but I look back and think, well, what a great decision, because what I know, it's not just what you learn from yourself. It's the people you meet, and that's what you do on a daily basis. The people I text every day or on the phone to every week that are doing similar things. Changing that environment you're in is the main benefit I've found from that. And I do it all the time now. It's like, I would question it, but if there's sort of mentorship that someone's offering or there's other training, I don't even question it now. I don't see why, and I guess everyone does, and that's why there's the difference. You can choose not to do it and stay in a sort of traditional job. Or you can make it, and it was a bloody big risk for me.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Well,
you
anybody,
Did you say you had to sell your car?
Yeah, so I haven't bought a new one yet, so I just...
What you drive? You leasing something?
No, I share my missus' car.
Okay.
Did it that way.
Yeah.
Again, what's the risk? Do I need a car? I work from home.
Yeah.
So if I spend this money and it's gone, oh no. But yeah, so you're not...
I generally tell people, don't invest money that it would cripple you if you lost it.
Yeah.
So if you're about to, whether it be in training or on a rent to rent or on a property, if it goes badly, it doesn't work out, worst case, if you're then going to be financially crippled and you're going to lose everything, then maybe don't do it.
Yeah.
But if the best case is, I'm going to become financially free, it's going to change my life, and the worst case is, well, I have to share my missus' car for a year or two while I save up the money again, it's not going to kill you. Yeah. As it happens, it's worked out. But it's also about, you create your own destiny. Yeah. It's not, even if you join a course or join the academy, no one's going to ever do the work for you. You're going to have training and mentoring and opportunities, but ultimately you need to be prepared. Am I committed to putting the time in? Which you've done. You've put the time in and it's worked.
Well, that's it. And you get people that invest in it, invest in training, and you can learn everything, but it's what you do. You walk out the door when you're by yourself, or who you choose to surround yourself with is how you keep pushing.
You need both. You need to put in the time and energy into it, but you also need to know what you're doing. And some people spend loads of time and energy, but they haven't got the knowledge, and they're just motivated idiots running around doing the wrong things. So you need the knowledge, but you also need the action and commitment. What would you say has been the hardest aspect of the business? Has there only been any times where you've thought, man, I want to quit?
Yeah, I think when you get the first couple for me, and it's sort of the turnover of guests and the problems, because you do get problems in sort of social media and stuff. I've tried to sort of publicise quite a lot of it, because I think you change your audience and with the honesty that you're providing. But yeah, we get problems. Like I had a phone call on the way here that I think the shower or something's leaking at one of the apartments, and it's just. But when I was first started, it was just sort of back to back. Everything was going wrong. It seemed like I had the first one live. I was renovating the second one. It was going sort of over the time I've allocated. Had neighbour issues. Like everybody goes through it, but it's just pushing through it. And I mean, touch wood, everything's going fine now. And even if problems do creep up, you've got the guys in place.
Yeah.
You build a team around you and just, can you go check this out for me?
Yeah, and I think being an entrepreneur, and by very definition, an entrepreneur is someone that solves problems. Yeah. And if you're, unable or you're afraid to have problems in your life, then maybe you are better off just having a job and, that's that. Yeah. But if you want to make a lot of money and solve a lot of problems, it's going to come with headaches, but you grow through it, don't you?
Yes.
And every time you have a problem, and once you deal with that problem, you book a mentoring call or whatever it is, and you find the answer, because there's always someone else that's had the same problem. Yeah. You solve the problem, you're like, oh, now I know how to deal with that. Yeah. And you become better and richer and a better businessman. What is your strongest reason? Because going through all these problems, investing all this money and time, it's now paid off. You do really well. What's what's the thing that keeps you going through the tough days?
I think for me it was sort of when in lockdown. Like I said, so I work from home predominantly anyway, so there wasn't sort of a lot of interaction. I just sort of lost that fulfillment from the job. Sort of the whole thing of sort of working for someone else. My parents have both started their own company, so I've been brought up in that environment, and I just sort of grown myself out of it. And when we got that property and sort of we did, like I said, all the renovation ourselves, and sort of just spent the amount of hours we spent there and like loving it. There was no point like really getting tired for me. And I thought, well, this is somewhere I could sort of proceed and go forward with. And then that's what it was. So I just went from there. And the satisfaction of sort of, I don't know, like that 5-month booking, like that pain that we were talking about of like neighbour problems, leaks, and then bang, you get that, and you think, well, that's 3-4 rent-to-rents that are funded just off of that one booking. So you can just scale up massively off of that, and it's just like, this is the reason I'm doing it. This is my company.
What has it been like? What's your experience of the academy being like working with me for the last 5 months?
It's the training back to back. Like I said, but then when you've done the training and trying to keep it up, like sort of, it's quite easy to drop back down into sort of the normal sort of routine life. But I mean, like jumping on the calls with you guys. I mean, the whole thing of doing the courses, you meet people, so they've got the same drive as you. They want to achieve the same thing. So you just sort of create your own sort of environment. And I think that, like I keep saying, I think that was the best thing that came from it, is sort of if you're having a shit day, you can just phone up someone and they're probably having a really good day and they pick you back up, and vice versa. You work as one big team. So yeah, that was the best.
It's really important, I think, to be around people that will pull you up, because environment is stronger than willpower.
Yeah.
And when you are having a bit of a day, if you've got someone that can pull you up, that's just so essential. What would be your best piece of advice to somebody wanting to get into property that's maybe new to packaging deals and rent to rent? What would be your best advice?
I think just calculate the risk, and then just go for it. And if it is feasible, just go for it. And if it's, I don't know, if you can't do the courses or if you can't do certain things, but instead of just saying sort of I can't do it, how can I do it? And if it's the financial side of it, or if it's time side of it, work to your powers. If you've got a partner, can you sort of balance the kids, or can you get an additional job to pay for that in the short term? I think just calculate the risk and go for it, because it might be a hard year, 18 months, but after that, you can then quit that job or release more time up, so you then can just scale up.
And I think if you're not prepared to, if you do now what people aren't prepared to do, then you're going to be able to live in a year's time like they'd never dream of.
Yeah.
And it's about, doing the thing, putting the work in now, and preparing your future.
Yeah, and that's it. The whole risk thing, it just goes on. It's like buying properties, like the recession and things like that. When's a good time to buy a property? Like there never is.
Yeah. First it's Brexit.
Yeah.
Then it's Section 24 tax. Now tenant eviction bans. Yeah. COVID. Potential recession. There's always going to be
a problem.
Yeah. Or a reason what makes people scared and what makes people afraid to actually go out there. But the truth is, we create our own economies, and there's always ways to make money in property, whether the market's going up or whether it's going down.
Yeah. Rising bill costs and stuff like that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the money I'm now earning from rent to rent, so I'm not worried about sort of my personal life. It's quite an easy fix for people that are in that situation. And now I'm almost like looking forward to it. I can capitalise off of things like this, like because there's going to be flats available. People are going to be moving out. There's going to be bits and bobs going on. People that have sort of paid over the moon for a property, which they can no longer afford. Do you know what I mean? There's people that have over leveraged themselves, which is horrible in a way, but it's the way it works.
Are your friends and family, girlfriend, what do they think of the fact that how well you've done in such a short space of time?
They're over the moon. So again, I was really lucky that I think people sort of get struggles where people doubt their decisions, but my sort of environment, girlfriend, mum and dad, they just sort of pushed me on. They never questioned it. If it was my decision, they would have known I thought through it, and it's the right one to make. And even if it wasn't, I would have got positive out of it in some way.
That's really important. So often I meet people and they say, I really want to get into property and I want to really go for it, but my family and my friends are telling me to not do it, or telling me to be careful, or telling me this. And I'm thinking, well, you're going to be so resentful when you're 70 years old and you're just there with nothing, thinking, damn, why did I listen to Dave down the pub? You've got to take responsibility for your own life. And that's exactly what you've done, and huge respect. So what's next?
So back to the landlord that I built a really good relationship with. We're actually going into business, so we've just secured like a really run-down property in central Bristol again. So he's purchased it off auction. He loves doing all that side of it. And we just had a phone call and he just said, do you have a build team? Because I would be travelling my build team from London all the way up. They'd be staying there in the property what's been renovated. And I said, well, yeah, I've got a build team. So I'm working with one of the builders from the academy that I've met. We're going to be renovating it. And then he's going to give us all the flats, free studio flats on a discounted rate. And then obviously I'll just split them with the builder that I've met off the power team. And he's obviously going to get paid to do the renovation as well. So it's win-win-win.
The pie is big enough for everybody.
And so that's that side of it. And then the money I'm earning and just saving from rent to rent, so I'm going to be looking to get, me and my partner are going to go and get a property, sort of 100 grand somewhere, either up north or Swansea, something like that, and sort of build that side of it as well.
Incredible. So you're using the cash flow from the rent to rents to dump into building your own.
Yeah, flips and BRRs and all of that sort of.
Mate, massive respect, and thank you for coming on the show and sharing and inspiring people too. What was it that made you agree to come on the show?
You, I think, pushing me. No, like I said, I didn't want to come on. I wanted to build up sort of more reputation for myself, what I've achieved. But I think it's just documenting it. It's just sharing what I've learned, that I'm willing to take that risk, showing the risk I've taken. People are in different situations.
And I think some people, it's almost selfish to be like, I don't want to come and share what I'm doing because I don't feel ready. I want to be a millionaire first. It's like, well, just document what you're doing and
Yeah.
inspire people. You know, the fact that you just last month made over $3,000 a month, just part-time from your rent to rents, plus your deal sourcing, like that's incredible. And it's all right, you know, when people come on the channel and they're like, I'm a millionaire, sometimes people can't relate to that. But with yourself doing that alongside your full-time job,
Yeah.
has it been hard, time management?
Yeah, it has. Again, I think I'm in a good position in comparison to some people, but I mean, still, yeah, it's just putting the time in, sort of doing the work, and then moving on to property, sort of trying to get time to gym, spend time with family. It's tough to do all of it. Yeah, you make it work, and that's the beauty of. So once you systemise the rent to rents,
How much time do you spend managing the rent to rents now?
probably a lot more than I need to. Probably about 5 hours a week, an hour a day.
It's not huge.
No, but it's easy from that side of it because now I know, but previously to get to that point,
Yeah.
and when problems creep up, so it's a little bit more, maybe 1 week.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the other side of it, and because I know what I'm doing now, I sort of offer management. So when I'm doing a bespoke side of it, I can manage it for them, or I teach them how to manage it and stuff like that. So just work with them because at the end of the day, they'll probably work together on different things in the future. It's not just a customer sort of trying to do it as a client and take it from there.
Well, big respect, bro. Thank you so much.
That's all right, thank you very much.